Okay, so we're back and ready for another deep dive, and this time we're wading into some pretty deep waters, spiritually speaking, that is.
Sounds intriguing. I'm ready to dive in.
Yeah, you know how we've been exploring the whole idea of personal faith, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, this excerpt from Elif Shafak's The 40 Rules of Love, it's Rule 32 to be exact, really jumped out at me. It says, nothing should stand between yourself and God.
Ooh, that's a powerful statement. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's bold, a little mysterious, and I think it might even make some people uncomfortable?
Yeah, I can see that. It definitely challenges some traditional views on religion and spirituality.
Exactly. So let's unpack this together. What do you think Shafak means when she says nothing should stand between yourself and God?
Well, I think she's really emphasizing the importance of a direct personal connection with the divine. Like, it's not about relying on intermediaries or external authorities to tell you about God, but rather experiencing that connection for yourself.
So it's about cutting out the middleman, so to speak.
Exactly. It's about having your own authentic experience of the divine, unfiltered by dogma or tradition.
That makes a lot of sense. And it also makes me think about how we sometimes get so caught up in rituals, doctrines, all those external things that we might actually lose sight of the essence of faith itself.
Right. It can become almost like an idolatry, making a fetish out of our beliefs rather than focusing on the underlying truth they're supposed to represent.
Shafak actually uses that word fetish, which I found really interesting. Why do you think she chose such a strong word?
I think it highlights the danger of clinging too tightly to any one interpretation, even a spiritual one. It's about the potential for rigidity, becoming so attached to our beliefs that we close ourselves off to new understandings and growth.
So how do we find that balance then? How do we hold on to our values and beliefs without building walls around them?
It's a lifelong journey for sure, and it takes conscious effort.
I can imagine. Where do we even begin?
Well, a willingness to be a student, always open to learning and growing, is crucial. And there are practices that can help us create space for that inner reflection and exploration.
Like what kinds of practices? Give me some examples.
Well, meditation is a great one. It helps quiet the mind and allows for deeper introspection. And then engaging with diverse spiritual perspectives can be really eye-opening. Reading different texts, listening to different teachers, even just having respectful conversations with people who hold different beliefs can challenge our assumptions and help us see things in a new light.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's not about abandoning our faith, but about approaching it with an open mind and heart, right?
Absolutely. I love that idea of approaching faith with an open heart. I think that's key.
It makes me think of that saying, the truth is a constantly unfolding tapestry. We never quite grasp the whole picture, do we?
Exactly. And that's okay. In fact, I think that's part of the beauty of it.
For sure. So let's bring this back to our listeners. If they're resonating with Rule 32 and this idea of a direct connection with the divine, what are some things they can do to cultivate that in their own lives?
Well, first, I think it's helpful to reflect on the beliefs you hold dear. Like, what are the core values that guide your spiritual journey? And then ask yourself, am I open to the possibility that my understanding of these beliefs might evolve over time?
It's a great question to ask. And honestly, it can be a little scary too, right? Because we want to be grounded in our values, but also recognize that we don't have all the answers. How do we reconcile that tension?
It definitely takes courage, but I think humility is essential. Recognizing that our perspective is just one thread in a much larger tapestry can help us navigate those challenging conversations and be more open to diverse viewpoints.
Like that idea of iron sharpens iron, right? We,
Yeah,
we need those different perspectives to help us refine our own thinking.
exactly. But as you said, it does take courage because those conversations can be uncomfortable sometimes.
So, any advice for navigating those potentially tricky waters?
Well, approaching those conversations with a genuine curiosity and respect for the other person's perspective is key. Remember, you don't have to agree with someone to learn from them.
That's such a good point. Sometimes we go into those conversations trying to prove our point or change the other person's mind, but that's not really conducive to true dialogue and understanding, is it?
Not at all. Sometimes the most profound insights come from those moments when we're willing to just listen and learn, even if it challenges our existing beliefs.
So to bring it all back to Rule 32, it seems like it's not just about removing obstacles between ourselves and the divine, but also recognizing the obstacles within ourselves, our own rigidity, our fear of the unknown. What do you think?
Absolutely. That's such a powerful insight. And it really speaks to the essence of what Shafak is saying, I think. It's about cultivating a faith that is both strong and flexible, rooted in personal experience, but also open to the ever-evolving nature of truth.
Beautifully said. So, as we wrap up our deep dive today, any final thoughts for our listeners who are continuing on their own journeys of exploration?
Be patient with yourself. It's a process, and there's no right or wrong way to go about it. Stay curious, never stop asking questions, and remember that the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
And maybe even more so, right?
Exactly. And as you navigate your own path, I'll leave you with one final question to ponder. How can you cultivate a strong sense of personal faith while remaining open to the diverse and ever-evolving nature of truth?
Such a good question. Something to really sit with. All right, folks, keep diving deep, and we'll catch you on the next one.